everyone. So in basic trigonometry, we have the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. Each one represents something. The sine represents for the opposite over the hypotenuse. The cosine represents the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And the tangent represents the opposite over the adjacent, which we will explain later. So in SOHCAHTOA, sine is SOH, cosine is CAH, and tangent is TOA.
Remember that this mnemonic device will only work if it is a right triangle. The hypotenuse side is opposite of the 90-degree angle, the opposite side is the opposite of theta, and the adjacent side is next to theta.
So here we have our first problem. It asks, what's the sine of 53? So the sine, as we know, is the opposite over the hypotenuse, and as we can see, the opposite is where theta is, and we are just labeling the opposite hypotenuse and adjacent. So the sine of 53 is equal to the opposite. The opposite is given, it is 3, and the hypotenuse would be x because we are solving for the hypotenuse. We would multiply the x with the sine of 53 and equal that to 3 and divide the sine of 53 on both. So after dividing, we can get x is equal to 3 over the sine of 53, and we can just put that in our calculators once we are done.
So for this next problem, we're trying to solve for cosine, and as we know, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. We are given 2 out of the 3 sides, but we only need the adjacent side and the hypotenuse side. So what do we have to use? The Pythagorean theorem to solve for the hypotenuse. The formula for the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We plug in 3 for a and 4 for b so we can solve for c. And after solving all of that, we get the answer of 5. And then we plug in 4 for the adjacent and 5 for the hypotenuse side. And in order to solve for theta, we have to do the inverse cosine of 4 over 5 to get our answer.
So our third problem asks, what is the tangent of 25? So as you know, the tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. So we are to set equal the tangent of 25 to the opposite over the adjacent. So I'm just going to label all of the different sides of the triangle just so I can get a perspective of the angle. Now I'm going to plug in a number for one of the sides just so I can solve a problem. So we made the opposite 26. So I'm going to do tangent of 25 is equal to 26 over the adjacent, which would be x because we're solving for something. So I would multiply x by the other side. So x tangent of 25 is equal to 26. Divide tangent of 25 on both sides so that we would get the answer of x equals 26 over tangent of 25. And we would also put that into our calculator.